I asked you today what you wanted to hear about, and the very first response I got was endings and beginnings. And I thought that was a great one. So that's what I'm going to talk about. But a lot of the other ones, a lot of the other requests for a vlog tied into this. So I'm going to chat about this as well. And at the same time, I have to go to the dentist today, and it's a 2-hour drive. And I have laundry that I just did, so I'm going to be hanging up my laundry. So you get that experience. Yay! Endings and beginnings. We are now at the end of the Carolina Renaissance Festival run, and it's been a fantastic run. For me, there's a lot of endings and beginnings throughout the year. I mean, I have festival after festival after festival. I get into town, I see old friends, we say we're going to get together. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. At the very end, the last 2 weeks, there's this mad dash of, hey, let's hang out. And sometimes that's okay, often it's not, because I just don't have enough time. However, endings and beginnings. You know, one door closes, one festival ends, another one opens up for me. The next one is the Louisiana Renaissance Festival near New Orleans, and that's only 3 weekends for me. And when that's done, then I have my winter off, and I get to decide where I'm going to be for that. So often we have a lot of endings and beginnings in our life. So whether it's relationships, whether it's a business, whether it's a job, the trick is to keep yourself moving forward. The trick is to keep yourself happy and looking for the good, because we've all heard it said, everything happens for a reason. I don't necessarily believe that's true. I do believe that we can use everything that happens for a reason. And that means that, let's say you go through some trauma or some drama, which we often do, and you know your friends are like, well, everything happens for a reason. Well, yeah, that's true. Or you can just let your life suck. Or you can use that bad thing or good thing to better your life. So making it for a reason. You know, and whether your one job ends and you can just, oh, it's the end of the world. Or you can move forward going, no, I'm going to find a better job. A better job where I'm loving what I'm doing and I'm making more money, and I'm watching the cat jump around the room. And so, you know, endings and beginnings. Always move forward into that positive nature. And let me see how, there's other things that were tied in. I actually wrote it down. Coping with change, control, long-term goals. You know, and that's just what I've just been talking about. Coping with change is, you know, endings and beginnings. Always look for that beginning. Oh my God, I've lost everything. What do you give to the person who has everything? Ruin, so they may begin anew. You know, as long as you have that hope of something that you're moving towards in your life, you'll always have that youthful vigor, that juice that keeps you from being stale or stagnant or dry like a twig and snapping, so that when change does happen, you can bend. You know, I just recently reinvented myself. You know, my legacy as a young man has been the Tortuga Twins, and now as a mature man, I'm moving into modern world. Who knows that as a venerable man, old man, what I will change into then. The great example of this is William Shatner. That man has reinvented himself into comic fun, you know, poking fun at himself a little bit, and developed it into other series as opposed to sitting back and resting on his laurels. Don't rest on your laurels. Look for that new thing, and if you can't find that new thing, look to your old thing. Look to that. Like I've always saying, you know, chasing and catching your dreams. If your job is ended or some phase is closed out of your life, look to that thing that you've always wanted to do and try it. Why not? Endings and beginnings. You know, a lot of this is about not being in control. One thing that I learned when I first traveled abroad as an adult, I went to Europe. I went to Italy and England and France and Monte Carlo, and I went with 2 other people. One of them was my friend Serena, and I was honestly, what's the word? Oh yes, I was a jackass. Because I was so into trying to maintain control. I learned from that trip that vacations are about not being in control. And if you can master that, you'll have a great vacation. You will roll with the roller coaster. You will ride the roller coaster of your vacation and enjoy it. Meeting new people, having adventures, and that's what it's all about. And sometimes life's like that. You know, your control is being able to let go. Your control is to trust the process and what's going on in your life, because you have quantum manifested good things. You know, I don't have to worry about bad people coming into my life because I'm changing who I am on the inside and I'm attracting good. The same thing can happen for you. Endings and beginnings. Remember, beginnings. Push towards beginnings. Long-term goals. Ooh, letting go of the past. Long-term goals. You know, what happens when they draw themselves out so long you can't see, you see the end, but you're stuck in the middle of whatever. My best example of that is college. In college, in the middle of it, taking class after class, day after day, it just seemed like this is unending and no point to it. Seems like I'm not really moving towards something, I'm just taking classes. And yet, I remembered my goal. Now, of course, I went off in a different direction, but I have friends who have become lawyers and doctors and actors. Oh my. You know, if you're in the midst of something, but you're moving towards the goal, keep your eye on the goal and just take that one step at a time. If you keep looking at your feet, you're going to miss the wonderful surroundings on your journey. You know, keeping your eye on the goal, yes, keeping moving towards that, but don't forget the journey is what takes you there. And that molds who you are. So long-term goals are a definite must. Short-term goals will get you one step after another. But long-term goals will keep you going in that direction so that when you're lost in the sea of college, going, I hate my classes, you'll remember, oh wait, I'm going to become this. I'm moving towards becoming this. Letting go of the past, endings and beginnings. Endings, you have to cut off and move forward to the next thing. Those of us who travel know that it's easier for us than the people that we leave behind. And often we seem like we're callous because we're, they're sad and weepy and we're just, I gotta go. And what they don't see is our sad and weepy comes, for me, sometimes 2 weeks after, or sometimes right as I hit the journey. But in order to be able to leave, everything kind of shuts down. I get a little bit of senioritis. And it's so I can. It's a defense mechanism so I can move on. If at every place I go to, there's this heart-wrenching angst at leaving, I'm never going to leave anywhere. It doesn't mean that I like the place I am at and just so yearning for the next place, but seasons change. It's time for winter. Look forward to the snow instead of, mourning the summer. So let go of the past, whatever that is. Don't let that, oh, I had this great job and this and this and that. Okay, find something new. Move forward. Oh, I had this great relationship. Well, yeah, well, they've moved on. Move forward. Endings and beginnings. Look to your beginnings. And in the meantime, do your, go to college. Do your classes. Do your laundry. You make sure you pay the bills. And enjoy the journey. Because that's what this is all about. A goal is... My battery died. My old battery was almost dead, so I was like, oh, I'll replace it. Apparently, I hadn't charged the other battery either, so it died in the middle of this. And I'm sorry for that. And I look like I'm cutting off my head a little bit. I don't know. Now everything's a little different. So, enjoy the journey. This is where I left off. Enjoy the journey. Because honestly, that's what this is all about. I mean, I love what I'm becoming. I love being a Tortuga twin. I love that I'm moving in towards motivational speaking and how I'm coaching and helping others. I love that. That's great. But if I just see where I'm going to and mourning where I've come from, I'm gonna get kind of lost in the middle of everything. So busy that I'm not having fun in my life. I have to enjoy the journey, the process. I have to enjoy the process. I have to enjoy doing laundry. I have to enjoy learning how to speak, in front of people as opposed to just doing comedy in front of people. I have to enjoy that because that is my new beginning. And I will use the stuff from before as we'll use, the stuff that you learned from your old job, as you learned, use stuff from your old relationships. I will use that for my new beginning. And some of my new beginning from my the stuff I'm still doing from my old stuff. I'll bring to Tortuga Twins. Stuff I learned from Modern World, I'm certainly bringing to Tortuga Twins. So endings and beginnings. That has been the thing for today while I'm doing my laundry. And you get to see that. Or hanging stuff up I've already done. I hope that you are having a fantastic day. It's time for me to go and get my TFIS work done. I'm getting a root canal again today. And my temporary crown, the kind of off color gone. I'm getting the new one put in today. Excited about that. So, Behringer Family Dentistry, who I've pimped out before, doing a great job. Endings and beginnings. Out with the old tooth, in with the new one. So, blah. Now I'm just rambling. I'm going to finish my laundry. I'm going to get on the road. Hope you are having a fantastic day. Hope this is not cutting off too much of my head. That would just annoy me. But then I'll learn from that. So, endings, beginnings. I hope this has helped you out. Have a fantastic day. Do your laundry. Enjoy the journey. And welcome to my morning world.